Welcome back. Thank you for joining me, grayboardgamer, here with round number 4 of Cannibal Island. And we have a few items that are going to happen before we even get to our event phase. We're going to have the City of the Cannibals revealed, and the carpenter who spent a horrible night outside of the camp is going to return. Something that I forgot to do when I revealed that river tile is mark the inventions that have the river on them that I can now attempt to make. And since we've found the river and we already have a rope, as long as we have the wood necessary, we can build both the ballista and the canoe on the Cannibal Island scenario card. Before round 4 begins, we're going to reveal the City of the Cannibals tile, and it is considered to be automatically explored. We already have the hills, so that's not going to help us any there, but there is a token that we can get that might help us out. We'll put this in place, and then also we're going to mark it with this number 6 to designate it as the City of the Cannibals. Also, before the event phase starts, our lost carpenter finds her way back to the camp. Woo! Everyone is really excited, and that's going to raise our morale up 1 level. That means our morale is no longer in the basement. Yeah! It's just in the level just above the basement. Let's see what our token is from the City of the Cannibals. And it is 2 food. That's perishable food, but it is 2 food. But that'll go into our future resources. We'll get that in time to eat, so food may not be a concern for us. Finally, now we're ready to begin round 4's event phase and see what this event card has in store for us. Oh no, we have predators in the vicinity. They found your camp. Nights will be hard from now on. We need to put the green question mark token in place on top of the exploration stack there, which means we're going to have an adventure on our next exploration action. And now we have to put that red beast die in the weather space. During the weather phase of this round, roll and resolve its effect. I just called it the beast die. It's actually properly named the hungry animal die, which will go into the weather space, and we'll have to deal with that at the end of our action phase. Night howling will move 1 over to the left, so predators in the vicinity can move in. We did have to put the token on the exploration deck, and we do have this die to deal with, but as far as events go, we didn't get another book symbol, and there are some blank sides on that die, so we may roll it and nothing will happen. Before we move into the morale phase, though, I'm going to have the explorer spend 3 of her, or all 3, for determination tokens, and use her motivational speech ability. So by discarding those 3, I can move the morale 1 to the right. We're now getting a little bit closer to the center here, and maybe going above 0 once again. It was a really good speech. It helped really boost the morale of everybody, but it took a lot out of her, and she is going to suffer 1 wound because she used up all of her determination tokens, and we're still on -1. We'll now move into the production phase, where the space that we're currently on is not going to provide us any wood, but it is going to give us 1 food for the tile and 1 food for the token we were able to add for our snare. This is the production phase, so those 2 food are immediately available. And this time we're not going to forget the pit. Here in the production phase, we're going to roll that brown wound die and see if we get even more food. Once again, we're hoping for a wound symbol. Nice. Thanks to the pit, we have 2 more food that are available, and we have 2 in reserve in the future resources. Finally, food is not going to be a concern for at least this round. Before we move into the action phase, we're going to have the carpenter turn in the treasure token. Because if we use this during the action phase, whatever we get will go into the future resources. If you use it outside of the action phase, then you get whatever it is immediately. I'm going to grab this whole deck and bring it over here just so it's easier to draw from, because I'm going to have to keep drawing until I get a treasure. These other symbols, monsters and traps, or beasts and traps, or can also come up, but we'll just ignore those until we get a treasure. Up. And the very first thing we find is a treasure. We found a bottle of wine in Vino Veritas. Keep this card. You can use it once to heal 2 wounds. Discard after use. Not a bad thing to obtain. We'll get this wine, and I'll just put it off to the side here so we can still see it on the screen. Yes, we can. We can now move into the first part of the action phase and get all of our tokens assigned and see where we really want to go. We have a lot of choices to make. We don't have to worry about food. So that means we don't have to waste any tokens gathering resources for food. We don't have to bother hunting with this increased threat on the hunt deck either. As far as inventions go, the bricks aren't going to do us any good. We cannot make the lantern because we haven't made fire or found the mountains yet. So our only real choices are Cure, which has no direct use for us right now, Map, which will gain us an exploration token, which is useful, and the dam would give us 2 non-perishable food, also useful, but the dam would use up wood. If we come over here to the Cannibal Island card, we have the ballista that would increase our palisades by 2 or our weapon strength by 1. Well, it doesn't have a line that says or, so I think both of those happen. Or the canoe, during the exploration, I could take 2 island tiles and choose 1. That's not a bad thing to have either, but those also use 2 wood for the ballista and 1 wood for the canoe. We also have these threats down here, and we should take care of one of them. It only takes 1 pawn to do so, and we have to have at least a weapon level strength of 2 for either one. And if we do get rid of it, whoever's there is going to get a determination token, and I think that would really work good for the cook here, because she has 1. And if we get her another one, she'll have 2 and be able to use Grandma's recipe again and heal 2 wounds by discarding 1 food, because we're going to have excess food. Because that token there, it says in the rule book that whenever it becomes available, you have to immediately turn it in for 2 food. So I'm going to end up with maybe 6 food, and some of it's going to go to waste. So having the ability to use that to heal a couple wounds would probably be a good move. So we will take the cook and we'll assign her here. That way she can get another determination token. We do need to attack this village. I don't want to wait and have another one show up. And that action would happen before we explore in case we do find... Well, we do know that there's another one because we rearranged the tile stack. So I'm going to have the explorer with the dog do a hunt action on that village. Now the explorer is pretty close to dying, plus close to an arrow that's going to mess us up for our morale that we're trying to rebuild. So we will have the explorer use the flask of rum. I'm going to hold off on using the flask of rum because we have the flask of rum and the bottle of wine, and they can be used at any time. So maybe something will happen that will increase my weapon strength. before then, and then I won't automatically take, let's see, our weapon strength is 3, and this thing is going to be a 6. Oof. It's going to be 3 wounds. Right now that'd be enough to kill her. So we probably will have to use these healing items right before we attack if we can't find a way to raise our weapon strength. The soldier can raise weapon strength, but he doesn't have any determination tokens. And unfortunately, since we haven't found the mountains, we don't have a knife, because the knife, the bow, the spear, those all raise the weapon strength significantly. So we need to find some mountains so we can do that. We do have the fireplace here, and that allows us to use a food to gain 2 health during the night phase, which means she wouldn't have to use Grandma's recipe in the future. The shortcut, that would be good for us at the beginning of the next turn, but we might move our camp again. No, we won't move our camp because we haven't explored these areas yet, and we know it's going to have a village on it, so that's out of the question. We're not going to move our camp. So maybe putting the shortcut down would be a good idea, because at least we can gain an additional resource from one of these adjoining tiles next round. Yes, I think that's a good idea. We will do that. We'll have the explorer start working on the shortcut. Maybe we'll have someone join her if we think we have people left over, but I don't think we will. I think we should probably, again, increase the morale here by assigning somebody there. I could build the shield to give me an attack token. That way I wouldn't have to use the dog for future attacks and can use him to help me explore. But we also have the map available. I think we might want to try and build that map. That way exploration doesn't take up as many resources. So we can have the carpenter work on the map, but we gotta be careful because she's hurt pretty bad too. She does have 2 determination tokens, which means she can re-roll any brown die when building, so at least she has that. And we'll play it safe and have her arrange the camp also. What do I want to do next? I do need to explore. So we'll have the soldier explore, because he has at least a buffer of 1 wound before the arrow. I think it's time to start taking some chances. Well, maybe not. I think we'll have the cook. Oh boy, do we want to arrange camp or have her help build? I think we'll change this out. We'll have the cook work on the map. She has more health available if she gets hurt. The explorer is going to get hurt. I could have... No, I'm going to have the carpenter actually rest, because she is only 3 away from dying, just like the explorer. And we know the explorer is going to get hurt, and we're going to have to use up a lot of our healing items. So we have the 1 token left for the soldier. We have to decide what we want to do. Do we want to make sure he is successful in his exploration, which will be another village that we'll find, or come up here and work with the map? I'm going to have him use both of them on his exploration to make sure we expose that next village and have a chance at attacking it. I think I'm satisfied with what we have here. It's going to be dangerous with the explorer working on that shortcut too, but gotta take chances. First, we'll start with the cook here with the night howling, or at this point it is the beast hunting. We do have a weapon strength of 2, so she can discard this card and get a determination token, which will give her her second one, which we can use later tonight to heal 2 wounds on 1 person or 1 wound on 2 people. That'll move us over to the hunt action, which is our Cannibal Village. And before we do that, we're going to use some of our healing items, because the explorer is going to sustain 3 wounds. Before rushing in to attack our Cannibal Village. She's going to have herself a bottle of wine, and it can be used once to heal 2 wounds. Explorer's getting fired up with some of that liquid courage, and that gives us enough room for the wounds she's going to take. After finishing off the wine, she rushes in and attacks her and the dog and burns down another Cannibal Village. That will cover up another one. So now 2 of them have been taken care of, which means if the book symbol comes up right now, it's only a strength of 1. The explorer's foolish attack paid off, but she did have to pay a price for it and get hurt pretty bad by taking 3 wounds. Now we can move on to building. We have the shortcut here being worked on, and we have the map being worked on by the cook. We'll start with the explorer, who's only 2 wounds away from dying. She's going to take her chance and work on creating that shortcut. The explorer attempts to make the shortcut. Oh, thank you. What a spectacular roll. No wounds, no adventure card, and a success. Talk about really coming through. The explorer really did a great job today. And with the shortcut, during the production phase, you get 1 chosen resource available on the tile with the shortcut token. So now we can put that tile adjacent to our camp, but for now, this is going to go into the future resources area. We'll place our shortcut with the shortcut token into the future resources. And now the cook will attempt to make sense of the map that we found earlier and try and use that knowledge to make a better map of the island. Alright, the cook's ready to go. Here's our awesome result from last time. Maybe she can repeat it. No, she cannot. She's going to take a wound, have an adventure, and actually be successful too. Unfortunately, the cook's going to have to take a wound, and that's going to push us past one of our morale arrows, causing morale to drop back down to -2. Let's hope the cook's adventure is not too brutal. What is up with all these predators? Predator in the camp. A predator visits your camp and attacks you. Fight a beast. Regardless of your weapon level, shuffle into the deck. It's a beast level 4, which we only have a weapon level of 3, so the cook is going to take another wound. The cook really got hurt a lot working on this map. She was successful though, even with all of the damage. And we have a map that is going to become available later on tonight, and that'll give us that exploration token. Now we have to shuffle this into our event deck. I'm not too worried when that one comes up again because we just gain things, but we'd have to draw another card anyway. We look away, and oh, hey, we will take that. If that's, I can't remember if there's another build card in there. I'm not sure, so that may not be as beneficial as I think it is. Okay, so the cook has her tokens back. We have a map that's going to show up later. We can use that next time. What do we have left? We have an exploration action that's about to happen. It's automatic, but we are going to have an adventure with the soldier. Draw our tile, and we knew this was coming. We do get to draw another token now, so that could be helpful. We've already seen the plains or grasslands, so that's not going to help us with any inventions. Aha! This will allow us to move the morale 1 to the right. This is a good time for it because our morale is core. We have found our third Cannibal Village, which means we have to look at our card again. Third village, the player who explored it gets a wound. Cannibals raid your camp. If possible, discard 1 wood or food. Well, we're going to have excess food, so that's not going to hurt us this time. Our soldier does get hurt, though, when he finds that third village. And we'll give up a food without any real bad effect on us. Our soldier's not done yet, though. We do have to go on the wrong track. You got lost, and you don't come back to camp for the night. Not again. At the beginning of the next day, you return to the camp with some wood. Execute the night phase outside the camp. At the beginning of the next round, before the event phase, get 2 wood. Well, that's a problem. Our poor soldier is not doing well. He's not going to get to eat because he's going to be outside the camp. And he's going to sleep outside. He's going to take 3 wounds and lower our morale. But that won't kill him, but it's going to put him on the brink of death. We made it past the exploration phase. Now we're into the arranging the camp. And we're at that point again where I think the morale is going to plummet. So, do I really want to increase morale, or should I just give her a couple of determination tokens? Okay, I think I can survive this. I'm gonna have her increase the morale. So we'll get the morale back up to -1. And she's going to heal a wound, which actually is not the best thing to happen because now she's right on the other side of an arrow. But the round isn't over yet. We are done with the action phase, which means our future resources now move down. We now have access to that morale increase. We have the 2 food that we have to immediately turn in for 2 food, but we've also created the map and the shortcut. The shortcut has been created by the explorer, which means she gets 2 determination tokens for creating it. And we can now place the shortcut token. I'm going to take the shortcut token and place it on the beach, which means during the production phase, I get 1 of the chosen resources from this tile also. I can either use it to get food, or I can use it to get wood. And maybe, since the beach has that special deck of cards when you use a gather resource action on there, maybe I can actually do that too. We're not going to be moving camp this time, but when we do move camp, we will lose that shortcut, which means this gets flipped back over. But the good news is we can find a shortcut again, and she would get an additional 2 determination tokens if she was successful again. We also managed to create the map, which gives us an exploration token now. We'll get the map back in place, and we'll leave the token on it here so we can see it right in front of us and we don't forget to use it. So now we have that to help us explore a little bit more. And luckily, we're only 1 space away now. We're not going to be rushing over to attack yet because our weapon is way too weak right now at a 3. We need to get actually off the scale and get up there to like a 9, 10, 11, 12, something like that to have a chance of taking that city out without anybody dying. We now have to deal with this hungry animals dice. So we have 2 blank sides. We have 2 symbols to decrease the palisades, which we don't have palisades, so if that comes up, we're going to have to take a wound. Here we would lose a food, which would also be bad, because we want to use some food to heal. And we have the beast, which is a level 3, We have a level 3 weapon, so this side is basically a blank for us since we can fend that off easily. We got another predator in the vicinity. Let's get this thing taken care of. Anything but the palisades. Nice. Alright, we know we're going to have to take wounds for not having a shelter. And all 4 of our characters are up against an arrow. So we need to do some healing. We can't avoid the soldier getting hurt because he's not in the camp right now. So we're going to lose 1 morale there. But the cook can spend 2 determination tokens, whip up another batch of Grandma's recipe, and she can heal 2 wounds by eating a food. We'll take 1 of these out of here for Grandma's recipe, and we will heal a wound on the explorer and 1 on the cook. Our carpenter is going to kick back here and have herself a little bit of rum and help her own cause out with a little bit of healing. Our flask of rum is empty and will be discarded. We're into our night phase, and now everybody has to eat. And this night, again, we only have 3 people in the camp. Our poor soldier is outside the camp. He's going to take 2 wounds from not being able to eat. He will also take another wound for sleeping outside without a shelter. Also, our explorer, carpenter, and cook, we're not moving the camp to anywhere with a natural shelter, and we do not have one, so all 3 of them will also take a wound. But luckily, we moved them over enough to where the only arrow that was crossed was right here when the soldier was unable to eat. Instead of dropping the morale down 1, I'm just going to go ahead and turn in my token that allows me to raise morale 1 to cancel out those effects and leave it at -1. With the morale being at -1, it's going to be much more manageable next turn when the first player marker, which is going to now move over to the carpenter, and she has determination tokens to use up, so we're not in any dire situation there. We'll take our tokens off to show that we used those abilities. We will move the scenario to round number 5, and we will have to discard this unused perishable food. Whew, that was another rough day. But I think we accomplished things that are going to set us up for a much better day tomorrow in round 5. We have another village exposed, which means we can attack it. And hopefully we don't see a book symbol and we won't have to deal with it at all, because if we can take out a 3rd village, then those book symbols, all they make us do is move our camp at that point. They don't make us take any wounds, unless we can't move our camp. But we've got a lot of open area, a lot of explored tiles now, so that's probably not going to be the case. We have our map token, our exploration token on our map. That's going to give us the ability to explore a little easier. We also have the shortcut that I think I'm going to grab wood from that tile, because our soldier returning with 2 wood plus the wood we have currently will give us 4, and that is enough to build the shelter. And then we can build the shelter in the next day, and we won't have to worry about that sleeping out under the stars anymore, taking a wound with everybody. We do have a lot of healing to do also. The explorer is 2 away from dying, cook 3, soldier 1, and the carpenter is 4 away from dying. We have to take care of all of that, and I want to attack that village, but I need a stronger weapon, because attacking it now at a level 6 is going to cause someone 3 wounds again, and we can't afford to attack it and take 3 wounds. We also got to try and increase this morale so we can get more determination tokens, which we do have, and the explorer's reconnaissance ability allows her to discard 2 2 determination tokens, draw 3 island tiles, pick the one we want, and then shuffle the other 2 in, and then the one we want we'll put back on top, which I think might be the action to take in order to get a mountain. And if we get a mountain, we can work on fire, a knife, a bow, a spear, and really, really power these weapons up and make a final assault towards the city of the cannibals through that 3rd village and work our way over to the east. Hopefully food is not an issue at the beginning of the next round either. Hopefully with the additional food on our camp and hopefully with the pit coming through for us again, we'll have plenty of food to not have to worry about that being a problem. I've managed to make it through 4 days without losing anybody. I'm going to try really hard to make it through day number 5 also. Before that comes up though, if you haven't seen any of the other videos on the channel or need to catch up on some of the other games I've played, take a moment to check them out. If you like what you see, please consider supporting the channel. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also leave some comments, let me know what you think. Let me know what you'd like to see. Let me know if you have some strategy tips for these future rounds. Your support is appreciated, and I'll see you in day/round number 5 of Cannibal Island.